Well, gentlemen, it's wonderful to meet you. Thank you so much for taking a minute out today. I appreciate it.
You're most welcome.
So I love your backstory. I want to know, before we get into it, probably something that affected your business model quite a bit was the pandemic. 5 years ago, everything changed. How did you get through that era, and how has it changed the way that you live life, conduct business, and do things today?
Blood, sweat, and tears.
Hey, I feel it.
Mhm. Yeah, we had to sort of stay the course, and we still worked with people. Obviously, it wasn't as we didn't work with as many people as we wanted to because people were impeded from traveling. But I think that has sort of gone away for the most part. We don't really give it much thought anymore. But at the time, like obviously people couldn't travel. Um, so now we're just focusing on growing and expanding, sort of future forward focused as opposed to thinking about the past.
That's the therapeutic way to do it. So let's figure out what the Journeyman Collective does on a daily basis. And to do that, I'm going to put you in an elementary school. You're in front of 12-year-olds. It's career day, and the kid in the back of the room is like, hey, what do you guys do for a living? What's your answer?
We make people happy.
Okay, and you know what the next question's going to be.
How do you make people happy?
That's
Definitely.
it.
So happiness is within. It's funny that you did this because I taught a grade four class. I'm an Alexander Technique teacher, and it's like, how do I convey the Alexander Technique, which is quite complex, to children? And it goes in about their thinking and their response to those people around them. So one question was, how do you know if somebody's happy or sad? And they all said, well, by their expression on their face. I said, exactly. So what is it that you would do to help shift them out of sadness? I would go over and give them a hug. And so, yeah, so it was very interesting. So in front of 12-year-olds, you said,
Yeah.
or
Hmm.
yeah,
Yeah.
it is explaining that, um, get them to work with, I would do an energy field with their hands,
Rubbing your hands together.
rubbing the hands together
Yeah.
and then doing the vibration that you can feel between your hands, and then get them to explain what are they feeling. And then I would say what we do, we enhance that field around you.
Mhm.
It
And,
goes much
and
deeper. Yeah.
I would
Yeah.
even I would go a little bit further. So awareness is key. So awareness is like being able to see, feel, hear, and touch things in a more subtle way. And so for the elementary 12-year-old, John and Jack got in an argument. Jack feels that he's right. John is deeply hurt, and they no longer talk. They're no longer friends, but they've been friends since they were out of the womb. And now both of them are probably carrying some degree of hurt. And they don't know how, no one's shown up to actually help them process it and release it. And so you're going to keep carrying it like a backpack of rocks that you don't need to carry that backpack of hurt of rocks in your backpack. And so what we do is we help you look at those rocks and recognize that, hey, I don't have to carry this anymore. I can let it go and trust that if the two of them weren't supposed to be friends, then they're no longer supposed to be friends, and maybe somewhere down the road they'll both go through a bit of a healing process. So the arm has been cut, but in this world, the heart has sort of been cut and it needs time to heal. And when we're shown how to actually move through that healing process, the releasing process, that opens up more space for new friends, new people, new experiences to come through. However, it's without carrying the rocks from yesterday's hurts, yesterday's pains.
But I think the lesson there too is sometimes it's okay to let people go. It just doesn't matter whether it's blood or it's friend. Sometimes we ride this course because of tradition. But at
Mhm.
the end of the day, we have to do what's right. And usually, time when you're healing, you'll figure out, yeah, this probably should have happened.
Mhm.
Mhm. Yeah, there
And
were
it's okay
probably
to let go.
signs along the way,
Yeah.
but we get stuck in this like, but no, he's my friend. I need to like be there for him when sometimes it's just part of growth that we have to, if we really want to, if we really want to live into the menu of infinite possibilities for our growth and expansion, then sometimes we do have to let some of the people go in our life so the new people can come in.
And some of the letting go is letting go of jobs that we shouldn't be in. And
Hmm.
people discover that when they come on a journey. So it's like, this is not my path.
Yeah.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah, we've inherited these ideas of, hey, this is what a successful life is. You do this thing known as get good grades, be good to the people around you, which obviously is one that should probably stay in your life your whole life. Uh, get good grades, go to university, get good grades, get a good job, live into that job for the rest of your life, and then wait until retirement to really truly do the things that you want to do. And I think there's a shift happening with a lot of people in today's world. And like we work with a lot of executives and entrepreneurs and professionals who they're like, I enjoy it, but it's no longer deeply fulfilling. I have all the things, I have all the toys, I've achieved all the achievements, but there's still something missing.
Yeah. I think it's a part of that existential fork in the road we all came to with COVID, you know,
Yes.
where it's like, what are we doing? The waiting for Godot moment. And
Yeah.
and you hear it all the time. You hear people I'll hear clips of people that have made just unbelievable amounts of money, and they're like, you have no idea the amount of misery that goes into those people that are there because it never stops. The hamster never ever stops, and there's a solace in someone that's a park ranger or somebody that's a laborer because they just know where their place is. They may want more. Everybody wants more. We all, I think, have an inherent idea of not wanting to worry about money and bills and things like that. But the people that don't have to really worry about that replace it with other things that are much heavier.
Mhm.
So it,
Yeah, when they no longer have to fear for one's survival, then there's a whole other layer of problems and energies that come with it. So then that's where I would say a journey, a guided psychedelic journey can come and help an individual to become aware of, hey, how can I take that rock that's in my backpack and turn it into gold, turn it into something different than a weighted, depressive, anxiety-ridden life where it's like, oh, I've only been happy twice in my life, but I've got millions to billions in the bank account, homes all over the world, yet I'm still miserable.
yeah.
And that's where when you learn how to work with that energy and shift it and elevate it, that's where little Bobby who wants to be happy can actually be happy.
Yeah.
Um, and that in itself too comes and goes. Life isn't always just about being happy. There are learning how to deal with those depressive states in a healthy manner and not letting it be like a wet weighted blanket.
So one of we've used the word path a few times, and I'm curious what the path that you're on right now. I want to know how you got here. Take me back to when you were 12, because that's always a really good guidepost of knowing what did you want to be when you were that age? What was your dream life?
Mhm. Gosh, when I was 12, I had so I'm trying to even track back to like, that's like grade six, grade seven.
Yeah.
I wanted to be a teacher. I sort of knew that. I didn't know what facet it would sort of take on. And I also thought I was going to go into medicine, into like become an MD and different form of medicine.
Hmm.
Um, but I was also I didn't know this until later, but I was always super empathic. I could feel people, but again, no one was around me to like share that idea that, hey, you're actually feeling and sensing different people around you and different people's emotions. So you need to learn how to work with that. Um, I did obviously, like, as life sort of moved on, I did become aware of how to actually not take on other people's energy. But how about you when you were 12?
I wanted to grow up to be Gene Kelly.
Okay.
Okay, so performer. So I picked up a musical instrument in grade five, which was the violin, and then got into music and dance and performing all the way through elementary, high school. Went to college for 2 years, theater program. Took a little hiatus and traveled the world for a bit and got a little life experience. And then I moved to England and went to another theater program in England, and did some work for about 9 years in London. And then made my way back to Vancouver. And that's when my journey sort of started with becoming a teacher for the Alexander Technique. I became a healing touch practitioner. I was introduced to a metaphysical spiritual center and really felt at home when I heard the minister give a sermon, or I would say a lecture. And that pathway led me down metaphysical teaching, manifestation, big time meditation. And it just developed into where we are now. It's like looking back is like all that prepared us.
Mhm.
All the boxes were ticked, all the paths were guided
Yep.
to where we are right now.
Yeah, yeah. For me too, it was like I had this insatiable desire. Just I was super curious, so I went down the scientific route, did an undergraduate degree, a master's degree. I thought I was going to become a professor at one point in time, and just kept paying attention to all the things that were showing up. And then in 2002, I had what some would call an awakening. I was in the corporate world for about 15 years, and that whole entire time, I didn't quite feel like I was in the pocket of where I'm supposed to be. It's like, yeah, this is interesting. It works my mind, but it still doesn't. Like, I would often be at my computer working, listening to like metaphysical teachings, Eckhart Tolle, Joe Dispenza, anything that would sort of feed my soul
Mhm.
because it wasn't being fed in the corporate world. So 2015, exited corporate world, started my own career executive coaching company, and then fast forward to 2017, Gary's mom passed away. She lived with us for 3.5 years, and that's a whole other podcast. Um, so a lot of learnings through that experience. She passed away, and it was like a wake-up call to say, what are you doing with your lives? Life happens quickly, and so does death. Death knocks at your door very quickly, and poof, like she was gone. And it was like a walking down the hall every day was like a a brilliant reminder. Like it was orchestrated on a totally different level to remind us, what are you doing every single day? And I think in that process, we were sort of forcibly pushed into a bit of depression and grief, obviously. And we had a lot of tools in our toolkit. Like Gary had 40 plus years. I had about 20 plus years of like mind body conscious awareness training, working on with mindset and whatnot. And it just wasn't enough. It couldn't break us through that next layer. So this woman came into our lives and she said, Rob, I think you and Gary might want to think about going on a mushroom journey. And I looked at her and scoffed at her immediately. I was like, "Pfft, like I've done mushrooms. What are you talking about? Don't be ridiculous." It was fun when I did it, and then it just kept coming up, kept coming up. I went on a journey, grief, depression, gone. I found my joy again. I found like this deep devotion and commitment to have those deeper conversations with people that are deeply fulfilling. And I came back after 2 full days of working with a medicine man, and I saw this vision that this was the next piece that I needed to start training with the medicine man. Gary saw the shift in me.
And thought, shit, mushrooms could do this. It's like maybe I have some things to shift. So I booked in with him, and it was over my birthday. And I always say it's the best birthday gift one could give oneself.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, depression, grief, anxiety had subsided, and there were visions that we are supposed to work with the medicine. What does that look like? We had no clue.
Mhm.
And that's when we embarked on a journey with our medicine man and worked with him for a number of months, working on a way of how are we going to represent ourselves through the medicine to assist others to, release and let go of things from the past, the depression, the grief, the anxiety, or just a state of calmness, peace.
Mhm.
So, on this journey of helping people find themselves and get to that better place, you two work together to help orchestrate that. What have you learned about each other during this journey that you've been on to help people get there? I mean, they always say the thing that's right in front of you is the most evident. That's where you learn the most. What have you learned about each other in this process that you didn't realize before?
First word came patience.
I, I'll summarize it with what I call the trifecta. What I've learned, one of the most important things, I think our society has trained us into this um, 1+1 in relationships. There's Rob and there's Gary, and that's it. And I think that was sort of what took place, I'd say, in the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s.
Hmm.
And what I would say is that there's the most healthy way to move through a healthy relationship based on growth and respect for the other individual and self is to have a trifecta in that it's 1+1 plus bracket 1+1 bracket. So it's Rob plus Gary, and then in between the brackets, there's Rob and Gary. Rob and Gary are in the relationship, but they also have their own individual identities, their own individual paths, and that allows each person to make their own decisions like, well, I want to go do this. I want to go do this, as opposed to like, should I do this? So it's like this full permission to be and with respect for the relationship. So there's sort of three entities in the relationship. And I believe that that's one of the biggest things that has allowed us to grow and shift. And I'd say one of the things that I've learned is that when you allow the other person just to let go of an identity that was yesterday or yesteryear or yesterdecade, that just creates a sense of freedom. And then the other person can continue to step into that freedom over and over and over again. And um, I think that's one of the biggest things that I've learned. And then the second thing is that anytime that I'm irritated or aggravated or provoked by something that's typically only going on in the sphere of my reality, it has nothing to do with the other person in the relationship. And it's the good old adage of like when you point the finger at someone else and say, you are being such a blank, whatever you put in that blank, it has nothing to do with the other person, unless they're being blatantly abusive.
Right.
But typically it's some aspect of self that you're trying to project onto the other person. So when you take full responsibility for that, those shadow energies within self, that is fertile soil that can be nourished within self for like the ultimate path to growth.
How about you?
Um, I think we've always been good listeners and giving each other the space. I think that's enhanced even more as we growing through this experience, um, learning more about love and honesty and being in tune with each other's emotions on we sense what's going on. And we question ourselves, we question each other. It's like, so what's happening? What do you mean? There's nothing going on. Well, actually there is. So, and honestly, my sister lives with us downstairs. She lives in the suite down in the lower level. And when she comes up and joins us for dinner, we sense immediately what's going on. And she goes, "Oh, I'm fine. I'm fine." I said, "No, sit down. There's something going on. What do you want to express?" So she's learning how to express herself other than trying to contain it, which festers into illness, sickness.
Mhm.
Yeah. So,
Yeah. So I would just add, I think what Gary's stepping on there is like honoring the genius of the other person and giving them the freedom to explore it.
yeah.
And I think that's a big part of what, when we first started guiding journeys, like 8 years, 7 years ago, it was something just intuitively clicked. And Gary and I, we wouldn't talk for like 5 hours, but we would just move
In a journey.
in a journey. Like when we're guiding other people, we wouldn't speak. It would just be this intuitive dynamic dance that we just moved about the space and it just clicked. And it was like, oh, this is what we've been preparing for the last like 20 plus years of my personal growth, 40 plus years of Gary's personal
That's
growth.
why all those dancing lessons came in handy.
I know.
It is. It's like a
Energetic dance in the room. It's quite beautiful to watch.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So, of all of the clients that you've helped, of all of the dreams you've helped people get to, at the end of the day, in this collective, what are you the proudest of?
Wow.
Oh gosh.
That we've been able to assist others to break free of the restraints that they've put around themselves, the barriers and the borders that have been created through life, society, family, work, and for them to make the conscious choice on what direction they're going to move forward in life after being with the Journeyman Collective. So we don't, it's not said and done when you're finished with the Journeyman Collective. You are part of the collective, you are with us for life, and we stay connected. So yeah, it's just watching them smile and say, "This is the first time I've ever felt peace."
Mhm. That's a really brilliant question, and I'm, as you can tell, struggling for words because I can feel so many different things because I remember every single journey that every single client that we've ever worked with, and we could speak to a client that we've worked with in November of 2019, and I can go back and remember different pieces that they tapped into. I think one of the high level piece is that when people get it, they get a deeper understanding of what it's like to be fully human on this speck of dust known as Earth, where there's 8 billion ants running around. Those ants are humans, and they just get it. And when someone gets it, no one can ever take that away from them, ever. It's a visceral knowing of like, oh, now I fully understand. And understand is a word that I almost want to like say right now too, that it's like an inner aspect of completion that happens is like, oh, I finally remembered that this is why I came into this meat suit known as a human body, and no one's ever shown me how to like liberate myself from the baggage, from those rocks in that backpack. And now I can not only do that, but I can continue to do that on a daily basis. So the backpack doesn't have to fill up. So there's this aspect of liberation and I think permission that people receive from a deep place within inside, where it's like, I get to be whoever I want to be.
Yeah.
So I think that's at the high level. Um, yeah, and just seeing people return to this curiosity space within themselves, which I think a lot of people lose, It's akin to the Polar Express when the adults no longer hear the bell ringing.
Yep.
Like we lose our ability to see the magic of like being on this frigging earth because we get bogged down by all the different things that all the different distractions. So I think it's like this light gets lit within people, and no matter what's thrown at them, it can never be dampened. It can never be turned off ever again.
So at the end of the day, speaking of knowing who you are, everyone has a perception of you. Family, friends, clients, everyone in your life, but you run the show. What's your perception of you? Who do you think you are?
That's a really another love. I fucking love that. Excuse my language. I
No,
love
no, you're
that.
good.
Um, I would say I'm a conduit for energy that needs to move through me for other people so they can get to that place of freedom and so that they can know their light within.
I feel I'm an attractor. I attract those to the light that see and are curious about who we are and what we do. Is like, and who am I? It's like just being there. I'm not doing anything. I'm just showing up as Gary. And that's the thing. The ego isn't in the way. And my thinking about what's their impression of me doesn't even come into my thinking. So it's like I just show up and it's I say, Robert, you wouldn't believe who I met. Yes, I would. Or even at a cafe, somebody sit beside me and they say, hey, and it's like, and they look at you and you look at them, it's like, I don't even know you, but they want to know you.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So I think we've opened the door a little bit. Speaking of the metaphor of light, and we've let the light in a little bit. If anyone that's listening wants to get more of this light, they have questions. If you have a pitch right now to throw out there to say, look, if you're feeling this way, come here. We can help you. What would you tell those that are on that precipice right now?
Mhm. I would say the person who's listening who may have achieved all the things and they feel this inner block or this inner ceiling or this inner knock that something else is knocking at at your being to say, I'm missing something. I haven't quite connected into it yet. I don't know what it is. I don't know how to get there. That's where the Journeyman Collective come in. It might be showing up in your life as unfulfillment, depression, grief, anxiety. You don't have to live with those things. If you've been on medication for the last 20 years for depression, again, you don't have to live with that. Um, so if there's this insatiable desire to know more about who you are and what you're truly here to do for the rest of your days, then reach out to the Journeyman Collective.
Yeah, and age doesn't matter. I mean, our youngest client was 21,
Mhm.
and in her life, in the time that we've known her for the last 5 years, her life has changed considerably. And we've had a lady who was 77 years old, and she still wants to provide more to the universe and to the world, to others. She wants to help. So it doesn't matter where you are on the spectrum of age, is like, how curious are you to move forward in your life in alignment and in your fulfillment.
Mhm.
Because even the youth are still a bit lost and distracted. So we try to eliminate the distraction so you can be the person you want to show up to be.
Mhm. I would also add, if you're a parent
Hmm.
and if you're seeing some patterns in your children that you've given them that you don't like, then it's time to do the inner work because the dysfunctional patterns that have been given to you from your parents, your grandparents, your great grandparents, you're passing those on. The greatest inheritance that you can actually truly give your children is to minimize the dysfunctional patterns and increase the functional patterns within you so they know from day one how to move through that process of I don't have to carry this backpack. I don't have to fill it up. I know how to clear it out every single day, moment by moment, and live in a very prosperous way of being that's focused on well-being.
The journeymancollective.com, a beautiful website. Is that the best
Thank
place
you.
for people to go to book
Yes.
questions? Cool. What a great
Yes.
site. Just like, I mean, just the minute you get in there, it's like all of your dreams of childhood come to life. The stars are shining. I love it. Um, is there anywhere else to go? Anything else that people should know to come to you to hire you questions?
Yep, we're on Instagram and LinkedIn also, but the website is the best place to do your research, due diligence, investigate who we are, and then book a call. And then we get online with you and go from there, discover whether we're a fit for you or you're a fit for us.
Okay. What a wonderful story. Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you for your story. Thank you for your time. Keep changing the world, man. It's great stuff. I love it.
Thanks, Joe. This was great.
Thank you, Joe. I
Appreciate
loved,
it.
loved, loved all your questions.
Yes.
Thank you. This has been